Comic book women are amongst the most strikingly beautiful figures in all of fiction, coming in a wide variety of colors, shapes, and styles. Despite their diversity, they share a common trait: idealized physical perfection. This consistency isn't accidental, as it stems from the deep well of inspiration that fuels every comic book artist. Just like peanut butter and jelly or bread and butter, every artist is driven by the presence of a muse, an essential, mostly unspoken force that shapes their vision, helping bring these iconic characters to life. So, let's take a look at the beautiful women who have inspired the most iconic comic book artists of all time. Let's begin with J. Scott Campbell and the late Michael Turner. Despite having very different styles, both of these superstar artists share the same source of inspiration, as these two found the perfect muse in the stunningly beautiful Denise Richards, the wild bombshell from the 90s, who stole the spotlight and the hearts of fans everywhere, with her long golden brown hair, a strong but feminine chiseled jaw, perfectly well-defined thick lips, beautiful baby blue eyes, a cute button nose, and a body to die for. This Bond girl with a wild side has all the blessings needed to be a real-life comic book character, and as so, has influenced the art of these two, as can be seen rather easily in just about anything either of these artists have ever drawn. From the dashing detective turned hero, Sarah Bassini, better known as Witchblade, to the dripping wet beauty of the underwater goddess, Fathom. From the superhero sensuality of the girls from Gene 13 to the tantalizing trio of beauties from Danger Girl. Not to mention all the DC and Marvel ladies that both artists have brought to life throughout the years, all blessed with the beauty of Denise Richards, which is truly one of a kind. Adam Hughes has been one of the biggest names in comics for the last 30 plus years, known best for his mastery of the female form, as well as his high quality realism. He found inspiration in what is perhaps the most likely candidates for real life crime fighting, which would be athletes, all the way from female fitness models to bodybuilders, or even female wrestlers like China, as well as an endless supply of muscled beauties. But there is one lady in particular who is the main source of inspiration for Adam, and that is none other than the six-time Miss Olympia champion, Corey Everson, the real-life Amazon behind most of his gorgeous pieces. A glamazon or gladiatrix like no other. In comics, we are used to seeing Playboy playmates and lingerie models running around in spandex. But Adam had the visionary idea of illustrating these characters who are strong and athletic, as if they were actually strong and athletic. And the end result is an absolute knockout, with a perfectly well-balanced display of beauty with well-defined heart muscles, which is exactly what's needed to fight the bad guys and save the day. Without the need of tiny waists, extremely long legs, or enormous behinds, Adam's ladies stand out from the rest as the most believable out of the bunch. But make no mistake, just because Adam's women are not hourglass supermodels doesn't mean that they are not as impressive as the more idealized women from the other artists. After all, who said you couldn't be rock hard strong and beautiful at the same time? Now, when it comes to the faces, Adam has used a wide variety of muses to take inspiration from. For example, his go-to face will always be Corey, as can be seen in just about every Wonder Woman he has ever drawn. However, Adam famously used Audrey Hepburn as his face for Catwoman. Strangely enough, what most people never noticed is that Adam used 90210's Shannon Doherty before settling for Audrey. So basically, when it came to faces, Catwoman always had a perfect balance of beauty and elegance, but from the neck down, she was always a powerhouse glamazon. Props to Adam for thinking outside of the box and giving us perhaps the most realistic female heroes out there. Mann is, without a doubt, the most popular and sought-after artist right now, and it's in great part due to his extraordinary mastery of the female form. Mann mixes high fashion with some spicy entertainment to create female characters who, despite being well endowed, could easily be featured in fashion magazines for women. Mann has several muses, but in this case, we will be looking at his work on Batman and Catwoman, where he used model-turned-actress Uma Thurman as his base for Catwoman. Uma is famous for having a unique look, with a statuesque yet bodacious physique, big cat-like eyes, full lips, a strong nose, and a long, slender neck. This exotic beauty was clearly the base for his Selina Kyle. And while Uma may not be anybody's first choice for the character, you simply cannot deny that Mann makes it work perfectly, as his Catwoman might actually be one of the very best we've had in recent years. Although at certain moments, you can also see some Madonna sprinkled here and there, especially 90s Madonna from her Rain days. But Uma is most definitely his go-to girl when it comes to the Queen of Cats. Greg Land is easily one of the most controversial artists of all time, but as polarizing as he can be, and whether you love him or hate him, no one can really deny he knows his way around comic book women. And it's all thanks to his three favorite muses: Birds of Prey's Huntress Ashley Scott, Baywatch's Pam Anderson, and X-Men's Mystique Rebecca Romijn. Both Scott and Romijn were well-known models in runways and catwalks before going to Hollywood, while Anderson was heavily featured in adult magazines for men and their teenage boys. Although at first glance, you may not think so, but these three girls have several things in common. For example, all three ladies are models turned actresses. All three ladies have played comic book characters. And both three ladies have striking blue eyes, golden blonde hair, a slim physique, and long, slender legs. One has a massive ample chest, while the other two are a little more human-sized. But Greg can always improvise that part. From Black Canary to Black Cat, from Witchblade to Domino, from Catwoman to Sojourn. It's simply undeniable just how much these three ladies have inspired the striking look of his women. Regardless of how you may feel about Mr. Land, I believe we can all agree that he has a good eye for picking out his muses. Spanish artist Guillem March took the comic book world by storm around 15 years ago with his refreshingly dynamic lines and his manga inking style, not to mention his highly attractive female characters. Guillem found his muse and inspiration in the beautiful French actress Eva Green, whose attributes such as her big intense blue eyes, pronounced cheekbones, pouty lips, and a body that any woman would die to have served as the base for his beautiful dames. it doesn't really matter if Mark is drawing Selena Kyle, other DC ladies, or his original creations like Monica or Carmen. Eva Green's gloomy charm had a big influence on his beautiful art, and it's quite easy to spot, in the best sense of the word. Unlike other muses we have seen, Eva has a distinct, dark, yet elegant allure to her, which translates perfectly to the comic book world. Eva's unique look inspired something very special in Mark, and just about every man on the face of the earth, as I have yet to meet a man who doesn't sigh at the very thought of her. So kudos to Guillem and Miss Green. J.G. Jones is a beloved artist who mostly works with traditional tools. He is perhaps best known for his strong, believable females, who have the right amount of muscle and meat to seem believable in the ass-whooping department. Now, Mr. Jones has a predilection for two stunning ladies, the beautiful duo of Angelina Jolie and Megan Fox, who ironically were both considered at one point to be the most attractive of them all, becoming every teenage boy's fantasy and every man's ideal woman. Jones seems to have a taste for ladies with pale skin, raven hair, blue eyes, thick lips, and devilishly high-pronounced brows. Whether Jones draws the sultry assassins Natasha and Jelena, or the world-class beauty of Wonder Woman, the inspiration is as clear as day, and traces of both Angelina and Megan can be spotted right away, cover, interior, or otherwise. The influence of these two ladies is always present and welcomed. Now, while on the topic of Megan, another artist who was both smitten and inspired by her enchanting beauty is none other than the urban barbarian himself, Dan Panosian, who seems to have found the ideal muse in the absolutely gorgeous Megan Fox. Now, just like Megan, Angelina Jolie seems to have had an effect on several artists and illustrators, such as Dan Brereton, for example. But Angelina also served as the muse for the newcomer Nico Leon, who more than evidently was inspired by the ultra-famous actress. And given how long Angelina has been a fan-favorite choice for the feline fatale herself, his short run as the artist on Catwoman gave us a peek at what that casting choice would have been like. And if I may say so, she would have been just perfect. Another artist entranced by Angelina's looks is none other than the highly popular Mike Deodato Jr., who also happens to be our next artist. Mr. Deodato Jr. is famous for his slender and voluptuous vixens, who have legs longer than ladders. However, besides Angelina, there is another lady that crawled under his skin. You see, Mr. Deodato found his perfect muse in what perhaps seems like an unlikely choice, especially when compared to the other ladies on the list. And it's none other than the adorable American beauty, Mina Suvari, with sweet, soft, innocent features, a petite frame, but a lot of character. Mina has captured the hearts of American moviegoers for decades, and has become quite an icon in her own right. Deodato Jr. was clearly inspired by her American charm during his run in Marvel's Witches, as it is more than evident that Mina was used as the base for the bewitchingly beautiful blonde bombshell Jennifer Kale. With Mina as his muse, Mr. Deodato created a majestic magical mashup, which is very special and rarely found. And now a very special spot on the list. Shout out to the wonderful Aira Lance from the channel HN25, who is a lovely, 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 lovely lady and a very talented artist, cosplayer, and prop maker. Not to mention a legitimate fellow Catwoman fan. So please make sure to check out her channel. She is awesome. The reason why this is a special spot on the list is because very few artists are lucky enough to marry their muse. But such is the case of Jim Balent and Holly G, who are both each other's muse, and who are quite possibly the most adorable power couple in all of comics. Jim is known for drawing some of the most attractive females in the business, with ample, generous chests, long, toned legs, big almond eyes, large lips, and naughty smiles. Jim's women are fan favorites among seasoned comic book fans. Now, Holly, aside from being a very talented artist herself, illustrating countless Archie comics, and her own creator-owned graphic novels, as well as being a master of multiple crafts, also happens to be enchantingly beautiful, and as such happens to be Jim's muse, as can be seen countless times throughout the years, whether on Catwoman, Purgatory, or his own creation, the successful Tarot Witch of the Black Rose. With a sensual but sweet and very, very playful look, Holly is the perfect muse for Jim, helping him achieve his best works. But that's not all. Like all the previously mentioned, Holly is an amazing artist herself, and she has her own muse, who happens to be her own husband, Jim Balent himself, serving as her inspiration for all her love interest characters in all of her stories, and her beautiful work. Now, another occasional lady used for occasional reference seems to be Pam Anderson, and there were moments in which we could see a little bit of Salma Hayek. But overall, Holly G is certainly the one to be. Now, I would like to give a big thanks to Holly G for correcting me while I was writing this, and for providing some wonderful images. Thank you, Holly, you are a true gem. Olivier Coipel is a French gentleman who has been galvanizing comic book readers for many, many years, with his timeless, elegant, perfectly well-balanced line work. Oliver seems to have an eye for the fresh-faced Jennifer Lawrence, the Oscar-winning actress who charmed her way to the top, and who won the hearts of comic book fans everywhere with her leading roles in franchises like X-Men and The Hunger Games. Jennifer's youthful influence can be clearly seen on Oliver's work quite frequently. No matter who Oliver draws, Jennifer's charming looks are most certainly always there. Our next artist, Sozomaika, is a rather interesting case because she happens to be just as attractive as the females that she draws. Sozomaika has become a huge hit in a rather short time, for all the right reasons. Sozomaika takes inspiration from 90s fashion, most prominently 90s supermodel Linda Evangelista, the top model whose beauty turned the fashion world upside down. With her sophisticated elegance, feline look, and cat-like features, not to mention an out-of-this-world beauty, Linda could seal your heart with a simple stare, or break it with nothing but a glare. Her influence is ever present in Sozomaika's beautiful work. And finally, our next and last artist is none other than the late Jason Pearson, who made waves in the comic book world with his exciting, dynamic, street art-inspired, innovating style, always delivering the perfect blend of complex detailing on simple but stylized shapes, making a name for himself and becoming a fan favorite very quickly. Jason also provided some of comics' most unique beauties, inspired by two gorgeous alternative ladies from the 90s, Eliza Dushku and Fairuza Balk. These two ladies are a breath of fresh air when it comes to muses, with a strong presence and an I don't take crap from anyone attitude, which was very popular back then. These two lovely ladies provide far more than just a pretty face. And yes, just like all the other artists previously mentioned, Jason's women are beautiful, yes, but they have this grounded, rascal, rough and tough quality that makes them stand out from the rest. For example, Firuza's devilishly naughty features and expressions can be easily identified whenever his characters are being wicked and crafty, smiling their way up to no good. But Eliza Dushku's influence is far more present regardless of who Jason draws. Her sharp and bold exotic features, paired with her toughness, has aroused and intimidated comic fans everywhere. Sadly, on 2022, Mr. Jason Pearson passed away, leaving behind an impressive body of work and a legacy that will remain with us forever. Mr. Pearson will be sorely missed. May he rest in peace. I think it's safe to say that beauty can sometimes be subjective, and each muse has that special something, that specific set of traits and assets that hits that creative nerve and sparks the fire within each artist, which in result brings out the very best in each piece of art. So please tell me, dear viewer, which of these ladies do you think is the best muse? Or better yet, just who is your muse? I can't wait to read you in the comments section because I really want to know just who inspires you. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Be safe and well. And remember that beauty is in the eye of the beholder.